Okay guys, welcome back to class. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to go over what you're going to know by the end of this course, guys. In the first lecture I kind of introduced myself, told you a little bit about who I was, and in this lecture we're going to go ahead and go over the different tools that you're going to have at your disposal once you complete this course. Okay, so first we're going to go over formatting your ebook, your paperback, and audiobooks to meet the technical requirements of most major distributors. So we're going to get into that. And guys, as I was saying previously, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on the formatting section. And the reason that is because there's already a lot of free videos that you guys can watch on YouTube that's going to get into the specifics of formatting, whatever format you're trying to make. So I think it's kind of redundant if I'm just making the same old videos that you can just watch for free anyway, right? Especially if I'm asking you to pay for a course, I feel that I have an obligation really to put additional content in that course that you're just not gonna get anywhere. It's something that is going to take a lot of time, a lot of digging, and a lot of knowing where to look to find some of the information that I'm just going to bring together for you here in one class. So not only is it convenient for you guys, but it's going to save you guys a lot of time in researching, because the topics that I'm going to be presenting to you, the stuff that I'm going to show you, it didn't happen overnight. This is a lot of research, hours and hours and hours of research, learning, reading articles, staying up to date with the latest publishing trends. It's a lot of work, guys, and most people don't realize that. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it, guys, okay? I'm pleased that you're watching the course, and I hope that you learn some things that will enrich your life, okay? So at the end of this course, you're going to know how to format your ebook, paperback, audiobook to meet technical requirements for major distributors, and we'll do all that in one lesson, one 30-minute or so lesson. You're going to expand your distribution network internationally, okay, for ebooks, paperbacks, and audiobooks, ensuring their availability in online physical retail outlets throughout North America, Europe, China, Africa, New Zealand, and more. So there's distributors that I use that aren't really well known in the States. And a lot of these are specialty distributors, okay? So they deal with a certain niche market, like children's books, or a particular type of fiction, or a particular type of nonfiction. And those distributors are important if you are trying to hit a niche market, which I recommend you do. Rather than trying to write what everybody else is writing just because it's popular, if you're really trying to be successful, what you want to do is you want to target a niche market, okay? You're not going to be successful by following the herd. Nobody ever becomes successful by following the herd. You're going to be successful by doing your own thing, targeting a niche market that you already are interested in, and then marketing exclusively to that market, okay? So we're going to get into that, excuse me, guys. We're also going to get into the difference between full service and wholesale distributors, okay? Full service distributors are more so for the more traditionally established publishing companies, right? They're distributors that offer not only distribution, but they also have a dedicated sales team that will call retailers for you, send them your one sheet, and we'll get into that later, what a one sheet is. Send them your one sheet and market your books to them for you, so that way they will buy X amount on consignment. Typically for the indie author, full service distributors will not be available to you, unfortunately. Once you have a proven track record of sales, that could change. But until then, you're probably going to have to deal with the wholesale distributor, okay? And a wholesale distributor does not call retailers for you. All they really do is just add you to their catalog. And this is what Ingram does, unfortunately. And they charge you about 40% per book that's sold, which I think is a ripoff, unfortunately. And I'm sorry that a lot of people are falling for that. But I wouldn't I wouldn't recommend them. If you're an author who's just starting out, yeah, it could be a good thing to have your book in a catalog where you can market your own book. But just keep in mind, just because Ingram puts your information in their catalog doesn't mean bookstores are going to pick your book up. A lot of authors have that misconception that, okay, I'm with Ingram now, so now the money's going to start rolling in and these bookstores are just going to start picking my book up. No, that's not how it works, unfortunately. It's it's not the real world. So you got to come back to reality and understand how the whole situation works, right? So what Ingram does is they use a metadata management system, okay? And they send your metadata feed to retailers globally, okay? And yeah, they've got, I think, 39,000 retailers on their network, which, hey, that sounds like a lot, right? Really, it's not. When you compare it to the global, the world and how many retailers are actually out there, it's a drop in the bucket, okay? But I mean, it's a good place, I guess, to start if you don't really want to look into investing in a metadata management system. But keep in mind, they're going to be taking about 40% from each sale for really not doing much of anything. Besides, if you chose their POD option, then they're going to take an additional $4 for printing the book. So just keep that in mind, guys. Just because everybody's saying they're using it, it doesn't mean you should use it. Really do your own research, make your own conclusions. You know what I mean? Come up with what works best for you. Don't just do it because all these blogs are talking about it and this is the best one, this is the best distributor. It's kind of that old adage of if everybody jumped off of a bridge, would you jump off a bridge too? Of course not. If you think for yourself, then really do your own research, okay? There's other distributors besides Ingram, okay? And a lot of these distributors aren't going to rip you off like that. So we'll get into that as we go into some of the lessons on foreign distribution. But for now, we'll go ahead and keep it at that. ISBN numbers, metadata, the importance of owning your own, especially for paperback editions of your book. So we're going to get into ISBN numbers, we're going to get into Bowker, and we're going to get into the importance of owning your own ISBN number, okay? The metadata that's tied to your ISBN number is what retailers see when they purchase your book, okay? And there's reasons that you want to own your own, have your own publishing company listed on that metadata. One, so you don't look like an indie author, because unfortunately, the bigger retailers, a lot of them won't accept you if you're an indie author. So you got to hide that, and it's really not hiding it. If you think about it, if you've handled everything for your book, right? If you've handled the cover design, if you've handled the editing, if you've handled the distribution, if you've handled the marketing, you're not just an author, you're a publisher, so represent yourself as a publisher, because that's what you are, right? That's not being dishonest. You are a publisher. So think about that, and we're going to get into some of the common mistakes that authors make when they are pitching their book to retail stores, okay? Also, we're going to go over where to purchase your ISBNs cheaply. So I know a few sites where you can get your ISBNs for, $18 or so. But the thing is that your publishing company will not be listed on the metadata. So that, that may be a problem if you want your publishing company listed on the metadata. But a lot of people that are buying their own ISBNs are doing it so they don't have create space issued on their ISBN metadata. And I understand that, because that can prevent you from getting into certain retail outlets. So we'll go over that in the coming lectures, rather. We're also going to go over how to locate independent book retailers quickly and easily. So there's some sites that I use to locate independent book retailers in my area. And I'll show you these sites, show you how to use them, so that way you can start locating independent retailers quickly, okay? Also, why establishing a solid track record for sales is important for paperback distribution. So before you get into the big leagues of paperback distribution, I highly recommend that you come out with an ebook and audiobook first, you know, and gauge your sales with that. Okay, if you're not selling too well, maybe invest a little bit into marketing. And build a solid sales record, because you're going to need that if you want these retailers to start buying your book on consignment. Okay, they want the bottom line, and the bottom line is, am I going to make money off of your book? I mean, that's going to be all they're really concerned about, unfortunately. So that's the real world, and you guys got to really, you got to live in it and accept that. Okay, this is why I waited for 2 years to come out with my paperback, for that reason. Now I have a solid track record of sales. It's been translated into 2 languages. Now I feel pretty confident that it's going to be easy for me to pitch to retailers, and hopefully these retailers will buy, you know, 100, 200, 300 on consignment. That's very realistic if I have sales to show, right? I've got a track record to show that people are interested in my book. Okay, so we're also going to get into the important considerations when deciding to distribute to physical retail outlets, why buyback programs are important, and how to take the necessary steps to control the terms of the contract. So this really gets into your sales record, right, guys? You want to have a solid record of sales, because otherwise, retailers want to have their cake and they want to eat it too, right? So they want to be able to buy your book at 50% off, right? Wholesale prices, right? And then the books that don't sell, they want to be able to sell them back to you, right? So they don't take any loss. Who takes the loss? You, as the independent author, take the loss. That's not how I do things, okay? And that's not how you should do things either as an independent author, all right? These retailers are already getting the books at wholesale prices, and then they get to sell them back to you and not lose anything, pretty much. No, I do not recommend you get into those types of deals, okay? And there's other smaller independent retailers that aren't going to ask you to do something like that. Now, they might require a buyback, and it might be 30%, but they're going to take a small loss and you're going to take a small loss, you know, because basically you're both in this together. It's not the retailer takes no loss, suffers no liability, and the author carries that burden. That's not how you should do things as an author, seriously. So we're going to get into that. Also, we're going to get into the introduction to book translation and foreign rights. Now, this is going to be really exciting, guys, okay? How to translate your book with no money down or little out-of-pocket expenses, okay? And also how to sell your foreign rights, okay? So let's just say you don't really want to spend time messing around with the translation, but you would rather just be able to sell the foreign rights to your book in a global marketplace, right? Well, hey guys, I got you covered. There's some really cool tools that I use as a publisher that I think you guys would be very interested in, and we'll get into that, okay? And they're not expensive either. $20 a year, it's very affordable for anybody, okay? And then lastly, we're going to get into the importance of vertical product integration, okay? Tips on how to turn one book into multiple lifelong revenue streams. So what I mean by that is this. Each format of your book, whether it is hardback, whether it's paperback, whether it's ebook, or whether it's the audiobook, each one of those books has a separate ISBN number, okay? So what that means is that it is a separate product, okay? So you need to treat it like that. And what I mean by that is include exclusive content in each of the formats that's not in the other. So for example, you have your ebook, right? That's your basic book right there. Then you come out with an audiobook. Put some additional content in the audiobook, maybe an epilogue if you're a fiction author, or a sneak peek at your next book, right? And then put even more additional content in your paperback that isn't in the audiobook or the ebook, okay? Be creative, guys. But this is what customers want to see. They want you to create value, okay? That gives them a sell point, a reason to buy this other format. Especially if they're your fans, if they've been reading your work from the beginning, they really love your books, trust me guys, they're going to buy the additional formats of your book because you've created value in their minds. You've given them something that is not in the other formats, and diehard fans love that. Okay, they're going to love that. So keep that in mind, and we're going to get into that as we proceed into the next lectures. Okay, but for now guys, our next lecture is going to be formatting your manuscript and your audiobook for distribution. Okay, so sit tight guys, we got a lot to learn, and I'm super stoked you guys decided to attend the class. And go ahead and get ready for the next lesson. Make sure you have a pen and paper handy because we're going to be going over a lot of information. Okay guys, all right, so get ready. We're going to go ahead and move on to the third lecture now.